Could you not drag me, please? Is this how you treat guests in your world? You immediately throw them in shackles and then drag them through the town while all the townsfolk watch on? I don't feel very welcome. Honestly, I feel like crap. I've been in a daze ever since I crash landed here. The group who welcomed me looked more like they were on their way to a Renaissance fair rather than modern day Americans. I am definitely not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Before I knew it, they threw me in a cell and locked the door behind me. As I lay on the ground and stared up at the ceiling above me, I couldn't help but notice the stench. I shot up and rapidly looked around. It was clear that I was in a cell, but the state of it made it look more like a stable than a jail. Hay lined the floors, and it smelled of waste. I could only assume it was human waste. As my stomach began to churn, I held my breath and hoped that it wouldn't continue to smell it. You get used to the smell. A voice echoed from the corner. I hadn't noticed anyone else in the cell when I arrived. I turned my attention towards the sound where I noticed a figure lounging in the shadow in the corner. That's not ominous or anything. Thanks, I guess? I muttered in return. I scoot to the bars at the front of the cell and look out to my surroundings. Hello? Is anyone there? I scream. I'm not supposed to be here. I didn't do anything. I had to get out of here. In a smelly jail cell next to a shadowy figure is not a place I want to stay. It just reeks of a tragic anime that ends on one volume because the protagonist gets off and the side characters aren't interesting enough to keep it going. No one is listening. They made up their mind the moment they brought you in here, the figure uttered in response to my plea, but still didn't move from his place in the shadows. I whipped my head around. Who is they, exactly? The acolytes. They take their orders from the order. I nod as if I knew exactly what he was talking about, though the confusion on my face pretty much gave away my ignorance. I sit in silence for a few moments, take a deep breath, and attempt to get my head on straight. Normally when people fall into other worlds in anime, they get to rush to meet hot, cool new people and get announced as the next hero. I am in jail. Not exactly a hero's welcome. My eyes fall upon several wanted posters that line the walls. Each one is marked with a bounty and how wanted they are. The three on the far right say most wanted and all have a larger bounty, I assume. The money here could be like yen, and what sounds like a large amount is actually quite small in how much value it holds. The first two don't list their crimes. Only a reward and a picture of the criminals, one female and one male. The last one says, wanted for a string of murders all over the country. Yikes. Hope it's not the guy in the cell with me. Slowly, I turn my head towards my cellmate, who is now out of the shadow and staring at me. I gulp, loudly. He just stares me down as though I was his next prey. He's not the serial murderer. I sigh. Not to sound too horny, but he's actually quite hot. High cheekbones, strong jawline, solid baby blue eyes, and crystal clear skin. His hair, I imagine, looks pretty good styled since he has a nice fade with a little bit of longer hair on top. But right now, it just looks dirty and on the verge of being matted. His arms? All I can say is, damn. Those are some arms. In stark contrast, I have some muscle as well, but mine is all for show. It's strictly gym muscles, not practical muscles. I did it to bring all the boys to the yard. Honestly, I feel like a hot less version of him. I have more of a diamond-shaped jaw against his square one. My cheekbones are nice, but it just makes my face look sunken in if I don't sleep well. My eyes are gorgeous, though. A nice blue-gray that will drive all the boys wild. Look, I'm a good-looking guy, but next to this beefcake, I look like a grinder reject twink. Though that look he's currently giving me is not hot. It's terrifying. He looks like he could just jump up and murder me in an instant. Just sends a shiver down my spine, and I immediately back away as far as I can. Which, mind you, isn't far since I'm already up against the bars. I'm not going to hurt you, he mutters before leaning back against the wall casually. Except this time I can still see his face. Wait, what are you in here for? I stumble over my words, scared of what the answer might be. For escaping from a camp, and well, the collateral damage that went with that. He shrugged. Escaping from a camp? Am I supposed to know what that means? Are the citizens here forced to go to like summer camp or something? I shake my head. No, that can't be it. Sure, I say, yet my face gives me away again. I'm guessing that's why you're in here. He motions toward my waist. I look down for the first time and notice the magician card tucked in my belt. How did that get there? I remember holding it before the earthquake that brought me here, but I assumed I had dropped it. Why would I be in here for having this card? I guess? My statement sounded more like a question than a declaration. The Order views the power of the Arcana as an affront to their gods and their saints. he said, his tone clearly calling me an idiot. The level of condescension that somehow spewed from his mouth was next level. I see. I continued staring at the card, still unsure what it all meant. I can see you're not quite the intelligent fellow there, so I'll break it down for you. You're in the town of Maya, which is one of the small towns that surrounds the city. You're currently here to be executed, most likely because of you being in possession of that card. The Order, which is the predominant religion on the planet, views any great power other than their own as blasphemy and sentences them to death. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do I need to talk slower for you? I get it. Just shush your strong-jawed mouth. I'm a bit stuck on the whole execution bit. I'm going to die? He sighs and rolls his eyes. Probably. Hope you're ready for it. He leans back against the wall and closes his eyes as if to signal that this was the end of the conversation. I turn to face outside and past the bars. Nothing is visible through the door in front of me except perhaps an alley. I can't really tell what it is. It's just a blank stone wall. Oh dear Capricorn, or Chiron, or Orion, or any of you celestial bodies, please save me, I mutter to myself. During times of trouble, I tend to look to the universe for guidance. After my mother died, I had 1,000,001 questions about existence, life, death, and everything in between. My father couldn't answer all of them, so instead he pointed me to the stars. He said he didn't have the answer for all things that I was asking about, but that it was okay to not know. Beyond our planet exists 1,000,000,000,000 stars and 1,000,000,000,000 more planets in every which direction. No one knew how far it went or how it actually came into being, but that's okay because it does exist. It's okay to not know. So when I was lost, I would look to the stars and remember that there's a lot left in this universe that is unknown. So I revel in that thought, and it just propels me forward to keep on searching for answers about my existence. Some people have God. I have the stars and the zodiac. Gentlemen, a guard steps in and faces us. It's time for your punishment. I gulp. Time to die for real this time.